Welcome to Advanced Scheduling Resource Schedule View training. The Resource Schedule View displays all your resources in a timeline view, allowing easy booking and rescheduling of those resources. Create new appointments or edit and/or reassign existing entries by dragging them around the screen. View actual time versus estimate time to gauge response turnaround times. Write unlimited notes describing work performed or other related information. Allocate time to a specific labour or travel service and bill your customer. Let's start with the navigation pane. I'll minimise that. You can see the navigation pane. So the navigation pane allows you to load your resources using various filters. We can load all our resources for today or tomorrow, this week, next week and so forth, or we could display a range and load our resources within a specific date range. Let's look at all resources and load those for now. And I'll minimise the navigation pane as we don't need that. You can move between different views, pivot views, moving to calendar view or back to the job list view at any time. So like all the other views, we can hover over an entry to get information about that entry. So we can see if we hover over a resource, we get information about the resource. If I hover over equipment, we get information about equipment. And the same if I do a subcontractor, we'll get information about the subcontractor. If I hover over an appointment, I'll get job information about the appointment, and I can see relevant things that will tell me important information. So if I click on a resource and I want to schedule that resource, it's very simple. Holding down your Shift key, press your left mouse button and draw. So hold your Shift key, press your left mouse button and draw, and you'll schedule an appointment. It's currently asking me if I want to put it on an existing job. I can even create a new job from here now, or I can do a non-job related entry. So let's put a non-job related entry in first, and we might say a dentist. We can add notes at any time to any entry, and you can see here I've got a non-job related and we're at a dentist. Now let's do another entry. I'll shift and draw here. Let's add this one to an existing job. So I'll find the job. We'll just make it our standard job 137 that we've been using in other presentations. And accept. And we've allocated Andrea to job 137. The third option, of course, is to create a new job. So again, you might be scheduling a piece of equipment for rental, perhaps, and you might come down here. We'll schedule it for 4 hours. We can change that if we want to for a couple of days. It's scheduled for 5 hours, 20 minutes. I can schedule it and book it for several days if I want to. And I can create a new job from here as well. So customer 1100. Go through our standard procedures, and we might create a job for a piece of equipment. I'll use a turbine there. Got our job. We might have a fault that we might be recording and we don't know at this stage. We'll just leave that. And we've created an entry for a new job whilst we're in situ for Andrea. And you can see there the Mitsubishi, and we've created a new entry there. So it might be the air conditioning system servicing that area of the turbine control area. And we've booked that equipment to the job. Now we haven't put any actuals there yet. We've only booked or reserved that for the time being. We can turn actuals on or off by clicking this little icon here, and that will show us any actuals. You can see here now the red dot lines that are appearing. That will determine whether something's got actual time against it. Now, if you want to see an employee with a certain skill set, we can look at skills. And if I just want to see those that have electrical certificates, you can see there I'm now seeing only employees with electrical certificates. And if I look at someone with an electrical certificate and engineer, only 2 of them are electrical certificates with engineering. skills. If I use the OR function, we'll see 3 appear because Andrea does have an electrical certificate but is also Microsoft certified. So it's an AND OR option that you have. Another nice feature is that we can paint multiple entries and move them. So if you paint over multiple entries, and then I can drag and move them around, you'll move multiple entries at once. You can see there we can do it across resources as well, and we can move multiple entries. Let's change our timeline view to a 2-day view. You can now see, so we can change our timeline view. We can go 2 days, 1 day, a week, several options there to choose from. The red line down the middle of the screen there is the time it is now. We have our typical colouring options. So currently we're coloured by priority, priority 1 being red, orange being 2, yellow being 3, and so forth. Again, we can colour by agreement, and that will reload the screen, and colour by agreement. So we can see those that are not on agreement, those that are on agreement. Plan 2s. Let's do by customer. We can see here all the jobs by customer now. If you're using customer or job options, the system will automatically do the colouring for you. So all the jobs are coloured, and we can see everyone that's on the same job. Those purple entries are on the same job. We can do it by job type, and we can see all entries by job type. These are features that are common across all views, but just showing them to you here again. We can look at priority, which we've seen, status. So we've now got all the jobs coloured by status. So those blue ones are on site, so you can see where people are on site currently. We'll do zone. Maybe you're looking for someone in a particular area. And I've currently set my zones to geographic locations, but you could have zones set up for suburbs or postcodes. And you can have no colouring if you wish, no colouring. It'll just display white. All right. Now we can right-click an appointment at any time. I'll come back to Andrea. And if we right-click an appointment, we can add a new appointment. We can split, we can start a recorder, and so forth. You can open a related job if you click on the entry and right-click. You can see there, I can open the related job. I can view it in the calendar and move it straight to the calendar mode, or view it in the job list view. That can sometimes be handy because you can see all the resources. So if I go to the job list view now, you can see here all the resources that are also on that job. Very easy to see. We can quickly go back to the resource schedule view. Now you'll note that some entries have gone green, which is a colour that's not on our priority list. And the reason for that is because they're related entries. In Tools Options, there was an option to make all entries that are related the same colour, and we've done that, so we can see very quickly if we click on another entry, anything that goes green is a related entry. We can view the site business hours at any time. In case we're running late, we might not make it today and we want to send them an email. We can look at the history, and we can look at custom fields for that particular resource, and Andrea doesn't have any, but I'll show you a few later on. So let's just quickly open the related job. So right click, open related job, and that will open the job for 137, and we can view that. We can view a site history at any time by clicking there. I won't launch this now because site 1100 has a lot of history there. It's a sample customer, and it just takes about 20 seconds to load that because there's absolute bundles of history there. To launch it, you simply press proceed, and that will launch your site history. And we have an option, as in previous screens, to show actual or not. So you can see here we can hide the percentage bars. There's our actual time appearing. We can see there our actual time. Remember, these bars are actual as a percentage of the estimate. If you want to see the actuals, you can click down here to see any actuals, and if you want to see the estimates, you can see your estimates. So that doesn't have any actuals. If I click on that one and we click up there, you can see the actuals. If there's more than one actual, because you could be pausing and re-recording, maybe going out to lunch and then starting your recorder again, and there's your estimates. You can hide label icons, so that screen's got all the labels sitting there. If you want to hide those, just simply press this button here to hide, and that can take a bit of information off and not look as busy. We've got the equipment dock again, so we can pin that there, and if I click on an entry, we'll see all equipment on that entry. There's our turbine. If I click on another entry, we'll see any, that's the same job, so we'll see a centrifugal silencer there, and we can see a security camera system on that job. Our current details will show us information about the selected entry, and we can email Andrea if we wanted to. We can send an email off to Andrea. Again, if you just want to see jobs for a particular service center, you could select that service center, and only jobs for that service center will appear on screen. We can sync to Outlook by clicking the Outlook Sync button. And again, this is a common feature across all views. And I can select those. I can email the appointments. I can email them. I can send them as tasks to their Outlook, or I can send them as appointments to Outlook. Those emails can be in a layout, so you have a standard layout. You can save different layouts if you want to reuse and open different layouts. They can have equipment functions as well. And you can draw from different tables within the system. To add a field, you simply drag a field and onto screen, let it go. You can put text in front of it if you wish, and that field will appear in the email. Very handy if you're emailing PDAs, for example, or smart telephones, because they're fully formatted emails and they get all the details, appropriate details. We can print a work order, so we click on an entry. If you want to print a work order, you can come up to print. You can print your job card from here. And we've got a job card for that particular job. Now, of course, you can email that to your employee if you wish, so you can schedule your employee and then quickly email the job to them. I should point out, I haven't said this in any of the previous videos, but when you draw an entry on screen, if you're using our VM mobile software or the employee portal, that job will be on that person's PDA or iPad or Android tab. It could be on their notebook, it could be on an iPhone. That will be automatically there just by the simple action of drawing and assigning them to the job. They'll get all the details of that job instantly on their device in the field. So that's provided you're using our VM mobile software or the employee portal, which is a web-based tool. At any time you want to start recording, you can simply press the recorder or right-click on the line and start the recording, and that will record actual time against your estimate. When the estimate, so we'll start that. You can stop the recorder at any time, pause it, stop it, and that will put actual time on the estimate. The minimum time frame is 1 minute. That's why we won't see anything on screen at this point in time, but you would see a red line appearing there as a percentage of the estimate. So entering a new entry, we can find some blank space. Hold down your Shift key. With the Shift key held, press your left mouse button and drag. You can create a new job from here using the new icons. You can add to an existing job, or you can make it non-job related. We can schedule all the resources, whether they be individuals or not. The other very nice feature is with the docking panes, if we go to the resource function, we can remove a resource by unticking them. You can see admin is removed. I'll remove Anna as well, and you can see Andrea is removed. Put them back on. That's a handy feature. We've got people with skills. I think I showed you that earlier. We can just see all the people with skills. If I pin that here, and let's pin the work groups as well. So now we've got both those pinned. If I click on Andrea, it'll highlight for you what work group they're in and what skills they have. And if I click on Clarence, so forth. If I click an entry here, it tells you who that entry is, and then we can click on them to see if they've got any skills. That person is fortunate, I wanted to check. And you can see there that person's for Andrea. And so if I click there, it'll come up for Andrea. If I click on Malcolm, it comes up for Malcolm. So Malcolm doesn't have any skill sets set in the database, but he's in a work group, client services and service team too. So that can be a handy way to view your data as well. This icon up here will minimize and maximize, hide your docking pane. So if I open up here, for example, and we're losing a little bit of screen real estate because I've got the navigation pane on. If I now close hide docking panes, you can see there it will minimize. It remembers which panes you had open. So if you click there, it'll bring you back to where you were previously. You can look at the summary of your jobs at any time. I can list all this month's jobs and see the number of jobs on any given day or appointments or resources allocated. Now we can zoom in and out with our plus and minus buttons, moving in and out at any time. The question mark over here will give you information on quick moves that you can do with your keyboard. I won't go through those in this session, but you can see they're pretty self-explanatory. So that's the job scheduling, resource scheduling view. I hope that's been helpful, and once again, thank you for attending.